Okay, so there came a time when a very serious drug war went on between Sinaloa and Beltran-Leyva cartels down in Mexico, and it was over who was going to service the largest drug customers in the U.S., of which the Flores Twins were at the top of the list. Yeah. This was near the end of your time with the Flores brothers, and tell us about, your knowledge of what went on and then how they kind of got you out of it.
Yeah, well, we were trying to create separation. We had a music business that we were still doing together. I had Connected Records and Val had Plugged Entertainment, and we were trying to create separation between what we were doing, just because they knew they were headed down a slippery slope. So what ended up happening is when they got down there, they really kind of had to choose what side that they were going to really work with, and they really had no need for both cartels, so they chose.
Were they being forced to choose?
That's all speculative. That I don't think that it was like that. I think it was more like pick your poison. Who you're gonna roll.
Be with both.
Right, you're not gonna be with both. That's clear.
Beltran-Leyva with the Gulf Cartel, or they were their own thing?
Yeah, I believe he was his own thing, but still separate. They also separated. Beltran-Leyva and Chapo were together at one point. Yeah. Then they separated, had beef.
It's really the Sinaloa Federation.
Yeah. So you're talking. I pretty much got put in position, and they sanctioned an okay. They kind of gave a blessing at the level that they're at. All they really had to say, yo, he's good. Deal with him. He can handle it. And they kind of somewhat let me handle some lower level clients of theirs. And
who did they put you with?
Albino Quintero was cousins with Caro Quintero, which he was kind of one of the main lieutenants. There was other underlings under.
An old man, Caro Quintero?
Yeah. So his cousin was kind of like running the show, and there was a few phone conversations here and there between myself and the associates who he sent to represent him here in Chicago, because he didn't really come here, but he came a few times. He was in the studio with us before the Twins went on the run. They were taking care of both cartels, but they were in the studio with us, and hanging with us, and so they knew me from around them, so it wasn't hard for them to refer me and say, yeah, you remember, Cash from the studio, he's good, take care of him. And then they sent lieutenants out and people to kind of oversee the whole operation and kind of hold things down, and but they gave me free rein to do what I needed to do, and that's kind of where my reign and run into the drug trade really started to happen. Prior to that, I was really like a lieutenant for the Flores brothers and running errands, and a lieutenant to Cato before he died.
Interacting with people on that level, what's the logistics of a day in the life when a load is coming in, or you told me one?
Yeah, facilitating, warehouse space and where it's going to be delivered to, what time that's going to be.
How do you find a warehouse?
Everybody's trying to make some money. The cleaning guy at a warehouse that has access and keys to the door will let you in their warehouse. The warehouse owner might not know, but you got a place behind closed doors to pull into and do your thing. Obviously you want to talk with the owner and him know, but there's.
Did you use the same places over and over?
Nah, those keys get thrown away sometimes, and you change complete logistics of things, especially when you think things are going wrong in other places or things are getting hot. So you change those logistics around, on the level that we were playing at, and me seeing and watching them operate. I kind of learned the game and what way to move, how to move. They were keen businessmen. At the end of the day, they weren't resorting to violence.
Tell me that story about the second time you got a big load and with the problem with the truck.
Oh, well, the warehouse backed out on us, and then they couldn't get access to the warehouse. So I'm sitting in the back of a semi-trailer, moseying down at 65, 75 miles an hour while I'm digging for kilos, looking through produce.
They were like signaled by some salmon or something?
Yeah. I mean, we had some schematics of where exactly the wall was, that, the crates were varying. But when you don't have a warehouse, the most dangerous
out on the street.
The most dangerous part of it is unloading it and transferring it from the back of that door of that semi truck to the back of some Suburbans or some trucks that are lined up. And you want to have a couple in case one guy gets popped. You send one guy this way, you're talking 200-300 kilos.
So 3 Suburbans pull up, each get 100 bricks.
Yeah, send them in different directions, post them somewhere till you get to where you're going to receive them all, and then bring them in little by little, one by one. I was in an apartment setting downtown, so for me it was, I couldn't just pull up a truck over by my spot.
You weren't living at your stash.
No. I mean, you got different ways to do it. Sometimes you're stuck with it at home with you. But I was I'm a small operation. I mean, it's crazy. I went from handling deliveries and being a lieutenant and handling money and holding things for them and not really being responsible and knowing what it is to be responsible for that large amount of quantities of things. So for me, it was like surreal, to be in knee deep in kilos in my bathtub and not, I got to move all this shit, So
as far as like the cartel representatives here, were they probably Mexican nationals? I mean, were they, or a mixture? Were they people living here? Were they Americanized?
Mostly everyone that I knew was from down there. They were here with a fake ID or some sort. Very rarely did I know somebody that was here legitimately.
So they would be, even if a person wanted to give them up, it'd be hard.
It'd be hard because they had. I mean, unless you knew who you were. Of course, you knew who you were working for, and you could tell them I work for this person. Theoretically, but you didn't know.
That person wasn't coming to Chicago and giving you anything.
And that's the tricky part of this shit is that, they do this. Some of these guys are cousins and family and things, so they do it in a way where it's a plug-and-play situation where if shit hits the fan, they could just remove who they care about. Everyone else is collateral damage, including you, who is the end.
You're the American.
You're the guy. I'm the American. I'm stuck here. I'm fucked. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. Where can I go? Trying to run away to a foreign country. We all see how that, goes.
There was an incident a few years ago, or it's an ongoing trial, where some Sinaloa hitters were sent through Chicago to kill a bunch of people that didn't pay debts. Was that
you hear horror stories. It's real. It happens. But it's very rare when they, some of that stuff is just a loss, like a write-off on your taxes. They just look at it like, that's it. I think it's when you make it personal, or you deal with somebody or try to take somebody's wife or their girl, or you deal with their family member, and you make something a personal connection and you're almost family, and then you betray them, then I think it becomes personal, and it's more of a a disgruntled boyfriend or something that kills a girl that cheats on him or something.
Really?
So it becomes a passion project as opposed to, fuck that, it's a loss, let's move on, go on to something else. Because the reality of it is that they're never risking more than they can afford to lose.
Now, on your end, you're the people under you are helping you. You're probably using the same people and you know each other. But the guys driving the trucks,
no, I had no clue who they were. They're just hired. They got no communication with me other than my burner that day and say, hey, I'm here. I'm an hour away or 2 hours away, and that's it. And then that phone's usually never again.
Did
or
you
that
see
guy's
the same drivers twice?
Never.
Not really.
Not hardly ever. So there's a lot of like
So say
throw away,
let's say a
change
guy
the combinations and
caught
switch the
bird
keys.
flat with 300 kilos, and even if he wanted to tell,
Yeah, well, they made it that way because if they knew who they were going to and they get pinched, you know, half of the time they don't really know whose load it is. It's
Well, they
some
don't even know.
random guy that comes up to them and says, "Yo, take this shit from here to there," and that's that.